Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north. Now, this is all about Tradescantia Wandering Jew. I'm not going to go through all the different varieties that I've got, but I want to answer a question that keeps cropping up. Now, I've made loads of videos on these before, and I thought I'd answered this question, but I keep getting the same question over and over. And I'm guessing that really the fault lies with me because I've discussed what to do, but I've not actually demonstrated it. And it's one of those techniques that if you're a gardener, I mean, I've been a gardener for 30 odd years, then this is as simple as putting one foot in front of the other. And I just kind of assumed that people would be able to follow what I described. And that is totally my fault. And it's one of those things that if nobody shows it you, then it's not going to be clear, is it? So I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you a demonstration of it. It's a very simple technique, but it's something that you can apply to all sorts of plants actually. So what we're going to try and do, you can see here, this is Tradescantia zebrina, and it's got this nice trailing habit. This is what it does. Now, it doesn't actually do it in the vertical sense. It prefers actually to do it horizontally. It grows prostrate along the ground in this kind of a manner along here. So that is one tip actually. You'll find that if you start to grow a Tradescantia so that it's hanging over a pot, it will try to curl up. And that's not always what you want it to do. You might want it to do that, that might be fine. I mean, on this red jewel, I quite like the effect where it's growing upwards a little bit. This one seems perfectly happy, trailing down and then moving upwards. Whereas this one over here, this one was pinched out, which is a technique I'm going to show you a long time ago, several months ago, probably nearly a year ago actually, and since then it's been growing upwards. So that may actually be ready for another pinching out, but it's all right at the moment. I quite like the way it looks. So that little tip that I was just mentioning is to try trailing them on a horizontal surface first. You'll find they go much faster and they go much further, and then you can pick it up and you can hang it down and it will look better. Of course, the ends will start to curl up, but that's just what it'll do. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a cutting. It's going to do two things. One thing is I'm going to take the cutting to stop it trailing. Now this one you can see it's in this pot here with several other Tradescantia, and it's trailing off over there and it's kind of making a break for it over there, and I don't really want it to go any further, so I'm going to stop it there, which will start the plant to further up the stem to produce some side shoots, and therefore it will bush it out. It could also do, and I'll just show you another one, it could also do this here where it comes from the base, and you have on this one you have these lovely pink growths here, and that is just purely a result of me pinching out the tips. So the question that people keep asking me is, how do you pinch it out? What does pinching out mean? How do you stop it? So basically all you need to do is cut that very end leaf. Now if I cut that off there, that will stop it growing. You might find, like, if you leave a little bit of it on, it will just begin to come out a little bit and continue to grow a little bit in a kind of deformed manner. So even though if you kept doing that, kept cutting it back at the end there, that will stop it from growing and get it to bush out the way that you want it. So what we do is, so we only have to do it once, we would go further down the plant. Now where would we go? Well, we can go anywhere we like. However, if I just cut that one there, then it'll do what I want it to do, but this little end of the plant here, I can't do anything with that. And what I want to do is I want to use what we've got, the material at the end, to get it growing somewhere else. Now you might not want that, in which case you might be happy to cut it there. Or alternatively, you might think, well, these, I'm not really that happy about these long lengths of burst stem between the nodes of the leaves, so I might cut it right back to there. Well, that's absolutely fine. If that's what you want to do, it looks appealing to you, then do that. That will do the job. But what I wouldn't do is cut just below a leaf node. if you cut it there below a leaf node, you'll be left with a burst stem there, and that will die all the way back there. So it won't do any damage to the plant, but it will look pretty horrible. So I would always cut it just above a leaf node, and then that will look more aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so I can cut it anywhere along that length, and that will do the job of bushing it out. So what I am actually going to do, I'm going to cut it back there, because, actually no I'm not, I'm going to cut it back there. Simple as that. Now, grab hold of that. So I've done what I wanted to do. I have stopped it growing at the end. That will now start to bush out further along that length, and I have here some very good cutting material. And because Tradescantia is so obliging with this kind of thing, that will now make another plant. Now, I very recently potted up these two. Now, these didn't have any roots because they were actually doing this kind of thing here. They were trailing out of a pot, and because of the weight here at the top, they snapped off. So all I've done basically is taken those and I put them in a pot, and they will root. I don't have to do anything special with them. I don't have to dip them in hormone rooting powder or prepare them in any other way other than what I'm going to show you now, and they'll start to grow. So there's my cutting. Now, because I cut it above a leaf node, the actual roots come and are the growth hormones are situated below a leaf node. So if I go and cut that, which isn't easy to do one-handed, in fact you can even see in this kind of join here, you can see some roots there, just about see where they would come from. See those little there you go, there's like a couple of little protrusions. I'll see if I can zoom in with some software. That's where the roots would go. So I'm going to cut it just below that joint there, and that's where the new roots will come out. Now again, with Tradescantia, pretty much anything you do with it tends to work. So I'm just going to cut it just below there. Oops, I've lost the other little bit. I'll have to dig that out afterwards. And I'm going to strip off that bottom leaf because I'm going to bury that up to about there in the soil. So again, trying to do it one-handed, not easy. Let's see if we can separate this. Ah! Okay, maybe we won't. Alright, this is what happens when you try and do it one-handed. I still think we can rescue this. Again, same thing there. See where it's beginning to turn there? That's where it would naturally touch the ground, and that's where it would naturally begin to root as it crept along. So let's try and do it with the snippers this time. They're very handy, two hands, aren't they? Very handy. There we go. That'll do. Okay, and that is going to be buried into the soil. Now again, I don't want to push it down really because I want to make a hole. Otherwise, if I push it down, it's going to, they're very brittle. So I'll just make a little hole like that. Okay, so there we have it. So now we have a pot with some red jewel in it and some Sabrina, and within a week that will be romping away and we'll have another little bit of Tradescantia wandering around the greenhouse. Really easy to do. You can do it with any of the Tradescantia varieties. So Maiden's Blush you can do it with, Sabrina, Red Jewel, Purpurea. Have I got any others? I've got a Silamontana, a hairy one, which I've just done a video on. I'll not show you that now, but you can do it with all sorts of the Tradescantia, all the different varieties, and you can create a bushy plant, you can create a trailing plant with bits coming up, you can create a prostrate plant that creeps along in different directions, and hopefully that answers the question that people keep asking me, how do you actually do it? What is this pinching out that I keep talking about? So if that's something that you found useful, by all means stick a comment in there and let me know. And if you think this video deserves a like, then of course give me a like. It all helps to promote the channel, which is something that of course I'm very keen on. So I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and for now I'll see you on the next one. Bye.